everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I am Jake.
And this is the Bible Reloaded, and we have a very special trailer that we're going to be watching today.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are talking about it, but some of you may not know. This is the trailer for I'm Not Ashamed.
And if you don't know what this movie is about, it's being made by PureFlix, or at least distributed by them, and you'll recognize their name of God's Not Dead and God's Not Dead 2 fame. I would say to you, don't look up what this is, don't go to the comments yet, because once you find out what this movie is about, you're gonna shit your pants. You're gonna go, what? Why would they do this? So, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Without further ado, let's watch this piece of shit.
I've always been drawn to hands. I think it's because it's the way that we touch people.
Ah shit, this kid's a weirdo.
I didn't realize this movie was gonna be about Catholics. Anyway, oh boy, here we go. This is gonna be magical old soul wise but beyond her years, does weird cringy things that only in the light of hindsight make sense.
I have this theory that if one person can go out of their way to show compassion, it could start a chain reaction.
So this is a line from an actual essay that this girl wrote, because this is based on a true story, and her name is Rachel Scott, who happens to be the first victim of the Columbine massacre. You heard me. This movie is about Columbine. Buckle in.
Why is she just chilling on that roof? Like, did she know they just needed a pickup shot? So they're like, oh, I better get up there so they can play my voiceover over this. It's inspirational to be in high places.
Sometimes I don't understand why having a walk with God is so hard for me.
So it seems like the film's gonna paint her as some sort of outcast due to her beliefs, but from what I've read about her, she was pretty well liked. She even wore silly hats because it was the 90s and that's what we did back then, kids. You don't know our struggles. You don't get to complain until LFO was on your radio. You guys remember LFO? New Kids on the Block had a bunch of hits and we'll get sued if I sing more.
Why do you hang around those guys? They're bullies.
Look at us, we're the middle-class backwards white hat gang, you see? Give us your compact disc players and Game Boys!
So, if you don't know what this is about, in Columbine, I guess there was this group of jocks, that were, typical jockey. You've seen movie bullies. Before Columbine, that was kind of a real thing. They all wore these backwards hats and would make fun of kids and be jocks and but then this happened and people decided, hey, maybe let's not do that. Because people die. Because we're dicks.
Is that what you want to be known for?
Later, lame-o.
I'm not like my friends.
Are you spiritual or something?
I just want to live my life for Jesus and care about people. Hey, can I help you?
No.
Come on, you must need something.
I can take care of myself.
I'm not so sure.
And here we go with this characterization again. If you don't know what a manic pixie dream girl is, it's a character in fiction. Usually there's a guy involved who's kind of introverted or something. And then this girl comes along and she's all magical and quirky and she brings him out of his shell. If I didn't know she was going to get shot in the face, I almost thought this was going to be a sequel to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
What's up, Borat?
I feel like even before Columbine happened, and I know I was there, we knew not to bully the kid in the trench coat. We still bullied, but not the kid in the trench coat. It means he's a nerd, but he may also be carrying a sword, nunchucks, or in this scenario, several pipe bombs and some guns.
Okay, see, now this is the problem with letting 27-year-olds into high school. This is Billy Madison all over again.
I thought it was going to be different this year.
Well, aren't you in for a treat? Sort of.
Is this some kind of prank?
Okay, I don't really know what schools were like before Columbine, but if the movie Heathers taught me anything, it's okay to fire blanks at people in the school cafeteria because it's hilarious, especially when Christian Slater does it.
Okay, not joking at this point. This is not a joke. What's going to happen in this film is that Eric Harris or Dylan Klebold, the two shooters from Columbine, are going to walk up to her and ask if she believes in God. She's going to say yes, and then they're going to execute her. In reality, that didn't happen. The guy next to her survives this attack and is currently paralyzed from it, and the only account of the shooters asking about belief is during the murder of Cassie Bernal, in which Harris reportedly asks her, "Do you believe in God?" Then she says yes, then she dies. That's the story anyways. That's what circulated in the 90s when this happened, in the early 2000s. However, the closest living witness to Bernal's murder has repeatedly denied the conversation ever happened. I'm telling you this because this film obviously is working the angle of evil atheists versus persecuted Christians. It took me 10 minutes of searching to find out this was bullshit.
I'd also like to point out that this is being perpetuated by Rachel's mom. It's interesting to see how Rachel's two parents took this tragedy and worked it for different means. For instance, her dad, Daryl Scott, he actually started this organization. It's called Rachel's Challenge, and what they've been doing since shortly after Columbine is he goes around, and there's like 30 speakers I think they have now. They go around to high schools, and they talk about bullying, which is it's cool, it's admirable.
And actually, they genuinely try to help people, especially kids that are feeling suicidal, not homicidal necessarily, but just facing bullying and the suicides that have been a problem recently, and just trying to make everyone be not so fucking negative to each other.
Yeah, and on the other hand, Beth, Rachel's mother, went on to write a book about this event, which the movie is based upon, and she really, really pushes this whole Christian angle. The whole book is about spirituality and her daughter's spirituality, which, at the end of the day, I don't really care, but if you're perpetuating a lie to get something across and trying to use your own daughter's murder, in fairness, maybe she believes it, fine, but she's kind of also weird. I'll talk about it a little bit later. Her and the brother have sort of weird beliefs about what Rachel was doing and her ability to see things before they happen. It's a whole thing. Anyways.
This fall, someone at PureFlix is getting so fired.
I want to be a light, but it feels so dark.
Yeah, and for the record, Rachel Scott attended 3 different churches, according to Wikipedia, so all the stuff in reference to her faith and devotion seems pretty accurate. And, fun fact, more people watched her funeral on CNN than people watched Princess Diana's funeral. There's 2 90s deaths for you.
Life's gonna be hard sometimes, but he's there.
Ooh, that Christian has a tattoo. That's how you know he worships hip Jesus. It's the 90s, too, so you've probably got the Janko jeans, maybe some, like, Christ pogs.
Did they make Christ
Oh,
pogs?
you know it. Gotta work.
I know Pogs was a game, but I don't understand how it worked. I just had them.
Jesus.
Because they just started giving them to people in, like, boxes of cereal, and, like there was McDonald's toys that they were just Pogs.
They're just little disc things with the Jesus is back in Pog form.
As hard as that is to grasp, he's in control.
That makes everything bad that happens in this film God's fault, though, dude. Even stuff not in this film, but also bad in the 90s. Like Will Smith's rap career.
Never gonna change what's happening in there.
Oh, good. We're already exploiting a national tragedy. Now let's exploit the mentally handicapped. Someone at PureFlix loves to steer into the skid.
Now I've known some jocks and bullies in my time, and never once did I see them get support for picking on the mentally challenged or deformed kids at school. Fake 90s TV schools are the least accurate thing ever. Except for the trench coat rule. Seriously, don't fuck with them.
It's just the way the world is.
Well, I want to change the world.
Said every high school student ever. Listen, Rachel seems like a nice person from everything I read about her. Totally.
Sure.
And a lot of the things in this movie are direct quotes from her journals. But think about the stuff you wrote in your journals in high school. You look back at it now, and it's kind of cringy and self-aggrandizing and unrealistic. The things that are in these journals are things that a lot of high schoolers write. And they only become meaningful in this case because of what happened to her. And if you take meaning from that, that's fine, but can we not pretend this high school student who is probably a very nice person is anything other than just a nice person? We don't have to pretend she's a fucking philosopher who's gonna change your life. You could just say, oh, she was a very nice person, it's a tragedy, what can we learn? But you don't have to, like, make her magical.
I'm really lucky that I didn't get shot in high school because my greatest literary work was, and I'm not kidding, I'm not making this up, it was a short story in creative writing called Abdullah Muhammad Bafanzo Mahamdullah Abdullama and his llama named Betsy, in which he traded his llama for a magical bean and then had buyer's remorse.
Okay, so now I kind of wish you had died because I want that to be a national bestseller. Okay, so this drawing right here in the trailer, we never get like a full view of it, but here's what it looked like in real life. This is a drawing that she actually did apparently a couple hours before Columbine happened. And remember what I was talking about earlier about how her mom and brother are kind of crazy and they go overboard with this stuff? Apparently, they claim that this picture is evidence that she was prophetic, or this drawing was somehow prophetic, because there are like 13 dewdrops and there were 13 victims, not counting the suicides of the shooters. No, it's a picture of a flower, and the fact that you're trying to not only use your daughter's murder to further your own agenda, but then also trying to claim some sort of magical prophetic thing is going on, kind of makes me think you just want to sell books.
Compassion is the greatest form of love that humans have to offer.
And other excerpts from my quote of the day calendar.
Test it out for yourself and see the difference that it can make in the lives around you. Tomorrow's not a promise, but it's a chance. You just might start a chain reaction.
While I don't necessarily disagree with that message, that particular speech is one of the reasons she's literally considered a real-life martyr by some evangelical Christian groups, and it's kind of perpetuated by her mom, which, in my opinion, cheapens her death. As Hugo was saying earlier, it takes this tragedy and it makes it a talking point in the worst way. It wasn't about her faith. It wasn't about anything other than, like, mental health, gun control, and bullying. And you make it instead about, like, persecution of Christians. It doesn't help anyone, and it certainly doesn't make what your daughter was actually talking about in real life before she was shot. It makes it moot because you changed the message she was trying to send. She was literally saying, like, we should help people. And she personally was, very into her, air quotes, relationship with Christ. Whatever she believed, she seemed like a genuinely good person, and this is just, like, totally fucking up her entire philosophy on life.
Jesus gave his life for me, and I'll give my life to him.
In hindsight, I don't think she meant that soon. So yeah, basically, Pureflix is taking this film, this tragedy, this person's death, and they're exploiting it to further their message of Christian persecution. Now, don't get me wrong, because some of the source material and some of her journals had genuinely good stuff in there about, being kind to other people. Hopefully, some of that'll trickle into the movie. It seems like they're going for some of that, but I can already tell. This is by the people who made God's Not Dead. Do you really think they're going to be subtle about their message or have a good message at all? Probably not.
There's a good way to make this film.
Oh, absolutely.
If you want to make a Columbine film, especially about her, because she's one of the famous people from it, and I mean, I don't think she would like to have been, but she's certainly well known, although maybe not a household name. She's certainly well known for the shit that happened after they learned about it posthumously. But yeah, it's kind of gonna be one of those things where it's like, makes you sad.
And we've been making jokes, obviously, that's just what we do, but holy fuck, this movie actually kind of makes me mad that they're gonna go do this. I mean, like, what if they made a 9/11 movie that's, like, based around some Christian in the building, and, like, it's all about them being Christian, and it takes nothing...
Like, convert before the towers fall.
Like, it's ridiculous. Come on, don't exploit shit like that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, there's a level of exploitation that is okay. Like, using this to make money is okay if you tell a story that isn't, adulterating the fucking, actual things that the person it's about was talking about.
I don't know, man. Her mom kind of upset. I know I talked about the mom a little bit, but, like, again, I don't necessarily think the mom is being disingenuous. I think she probably believes everything she says, but I feel like she's kind of tainting her daughter's stuff with the whole things being prophetic, and she's saying that, oh, she kept saying she thought something was wrong or whatever. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell sometimes when someone's lying to make money or if they're genuinely just have lied to themselves enough where they are delusional like that. Either way, I guess it helps her cope, but damn, man. The dad took that shit and made it something positive, which is great. And actually, he was asked recently, or maybe it wasn't recently, he was asked later about the whole, her being asked, do you believe in God, whatever, if it happened or not, because at the point he was asked this, it had come into question whether or not that it actually happened. He said, she was a person of faith. She really cared about her religion. That's great, but that's not what I took out of this. Like, he had a very reasonable response. He was like, I go around and I'm going to try and stop stuff like this from happening in the future, but I'm not going to use it as an opportunity to preach to people because that's not the message that should be taken away from this. The mom, totally different story. They're divorced, by the way, if you can't tell. Anyway.
But, luckily, you don't have to watch the movie. You can just watch a review of it when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do that.
Because we'll watch it.
That's going to be a hard one to watch, probably. It's going to disappoint me so much. But anyway, it's PureFlix. It's not like I have that much to expect from them anyway. I guess it...
Wouldn't it be amazing if it was like fucking just the best
Oh,
film?
I'd be like, oh, right on, PureFlix. Stop making God's Not Dead sequels now, because they're terrible. Anyway, so thanks, everyone. You can always follow us on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded, and you can also subscribe. And if you subscribe, you will definitely get a notification for when this film comes out, and we do the review, and you want that.
You can always donate to our Patreon campaign. If you do that, you get access to our once-a-month patron-only hangouts. That's a lot of fun. We hang out, answer questions from you guys, read a comic sometimes together, like a bad Christian one usually.
Sure.
Fun stuff. So, other than that, tell us what you think about this movie in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think about this piece of shit. And tell us how much respect you lost for us from any and all of those jokes. So until next time, I'm Hugo.
Yeah,
and this
Jake.
has been fucking disgusting.
Yeah.